Hello, everyone. Welcome, welcome. We're so happy to have you here tonight. We're going to get started in a few minutes. Give everyone time to roll in and join our talk tonight. So happy you're here. Hang tight. We'll get started soon.
These majestic, enigmatic creatures are actually essential wardens of our marine environment. Found in every ocean across the world, they play a fundamental role in ensuring balance and stability in our oceans. Sadly, this role is jeopardized by overfishing and habitat loss. Around 3 billion people rely on fish as their primary source of protein. Ongoing declines in shark populations could have devastating and unpredictable impacts on marine food webs, and even our own food supply. The plight of sharks and rays was the spark for the Save Our Seas Foundation, founded over 15 years ago. Through the funding and support of research, conservation, and education initiatives, we are dedicated to safeguarding the future of sharks and rays. Today we have 3 centers based in Seychelles, South Africa, and the USA. Since 2003, we have funded over 300 projects on over 60 species in over 50 countries. We have also partnered long-term with several projects, including the Shark Spotters in South Africa, the Shark Lab in the Bahamas, and the Manta Trust. We're passionate about our mission: protect the future of sharks and rays and our oceans for generations to come. We can and will make a difference. The Save Our Seas Foundation.
I used to actually be terrified in any water where I couldn't see the bottom. Tales of monsters lurking in the deep. What are these enigmatic, crazy creatures? The first recognizable ancestors of sharks existed before trees, whereas now they could be facing collapse in a single generation. I actually think it's very hard to know just how much you love something until you lose it. Grief is the price we pay for love. The thing that drove me on this path was a pure passion for the animals themselves. I didn't start out wanting to save them because I didn't know that they needed saving or help. I realized that if we want to help save sharks, we need to make sure they have safe places to live in.
Sharks and rays, they are ancient, enigmatic, misunderstood, and essential to our oceans. But these important animals are under immense pressure. As the Save Our Seas Foundation, we're here to help. Through supporting research, conservation, and education, we work to ensure a future for sharks and rays. The Save Our Seas Foundation. Together, we can make a difference.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Save Our Seas Foundation Distinguished Speaker Series. We're so happy to have you all. My name is Lance. I am the Director of Sustainability at the Museum of Discovery and Science in lovely South Florida, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to be exact. Tonight, we are going to be bringing you another amazing speaker, talking all about their amazing research having to do with sharks, this time all the way from Africa. So we're excited to bring you another speaker tonight. Um, a little bit about the series first, though. First, want to say thank you to the Save Our Seas Foundation for making this whole series possible and the support that they give our museum, but also all the researchers and educators and conservationists around the world. Um, Hundreds of projects being funded through the Save Our Seas Foundation. So thank you very much for making this series and everything, all of that amazing work possible. Um, Here at the museum, we do a lot of work as well. Our mission is to connect people to inspiring science. This is what we do every day. This is what we're striving to do tonight with you as well. This is our lovely museum. If you ever find yourself in Fort Lauderdale, come on by. It's a really fun place to be. Everything that we do is driven by four kind of strategic action pillars: physical science education, early childhood education, health and wellness education, and sustainability, environmental sustainability. So tonight, that's what we're going to be doing. We're talking about sustainability of our oceans, and the science that needs to go into it to learn more about it and how we can be good stewards of it. So tonight, our speaker is Ana Lucia Furtado Suarez. Lucia is a marine scientist, an educator, and a passionate advocate for shark and ray conservation. Born and raised in a coastal town in Portugal, Lucia developed a deep connection to the sea from an early age, a bond that continues to shape both her career and her personal life. A lifelong and self-described thalassophile. That means she really loves the ocean. She is most at home diving, surfing, and exploring the marine ecosystem she works to protect. Lucia holds a bachelor's degree in marine science and a master's in marine biodiversity and conservation. She has collaborated with several international conservation organizations all throughout the world, including, of course, the Save Our Seas Foundation and the Elasmo Project. Currently, she's pursuing a PhD, a doctorate at Ludwig Maximilians University in Munich, Germany, where she leads the pioneering research that she's going to be talking about tonight, project and the impact of artisanal fisheries on sharks and rays along the Angolan coast, which is known for its ecological richness, but is an understudied area. So welcome, Lucia. We're so happy to have you here tonight.
Hi, Lance. Thank you so much, first of all, for your invitation to be here tonight. Well, tonight for me. And thank
Yeah.
you, everyone, to be present here and taking your time to watch our talk. It's a
Hey,
pleasure,
you're
really,
coming
to
to us
share.
from Lisbon, Portugal tonight, right?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
in Lisbon. Yeah, I
Thanks for
hop
staying
around
up late.
between Lisbon and Angola. Yeah, to say that this project is really close to me because I'm Portuguese Angolan, so my parents are from Angola and they fled from the war many years ago, which
Mhm.
is one of the issues that cause all of this overfishing and all the situation that we have now about the non-monitoring of fisheries and etc.,
Right.
which we will talk a bit later. But yeah, I'm very proud to be able to do what I do and to involve communities, and yeah, happy to share with everyone here.
We're happy to have you. I'm excited to learn about your project and all the things that you're learning and discovering, and all the work that you're doing with the people that live in the places you study. So feel free to go ahead and share your screen. While you do
Hmm.
that, I'll just remind our guests that you guys feel free to ask questions. Please, if you have questions, put them in the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat the whole time. So if you have any questions that are about what Lucia is talking about in that moment, I will definitely chime in and ask them. Otherwise, we'll have some dedicated Q&A time at the end. So, Lucia, I can see your screen. There's
Okay.
that little, I don't know if you remember that little thing we talked about with the little black bar at the top we can see. I don't know if there's a way to get rid of that or not, but otherwise, that's it.
Uh, I know ooh, technical issues. Ah,
Let's just roll with it. Just go ahead. It's
yeah, I'm so sorry.
no worries.
Because I can't see it on mine.
Yeah, I think it's your Zoom. I think it's the Zoom bar that's at the
Yeah,
top of the screen because when you share your screen. So that's okay. Just go with it. We can see enough
yeah.
of the screen. It's no big deal.
So, good evening, everyone. As Lance said, my name is Lúcia. I'm the project leader for the Angola Elasmo Project, which is a project supported by the Save Our Seas Foundation, as in a Keystone grant, which I'm very proud this year. Our project focuses on conservation of sharks and rays along the Angolan coastline. And today I will share a bit of my story on how the project has begun and why it's so important and what are the discoveries so far that we can share. As Lance said, I dedicated my career to shark and ray conservation, although we didn't start it straight away focusing on that. But as many of you might know, it's one of the most dramatic cases of declines in terms of species nowadays. So why not dedicate my life to it? Apologies. So, elasmobranchs are a group of cartilaginous fishes, including sharks and rays and skate. They've been around for over 400 million years, surviving 5 mass extinctions, and now it is a problem because of us. Chondrichthyes is the class that includes the all cartilaginous fishes, and just to explain why the Elasmo name is in the Angola Elasmo project, because Elasmo branch will be too long, so it's just a little abbreviation. This to say that all the photos that are here, except a slide that I will say, they're all coming from the Angola Elasmo project work, so during our field work. So these elasmos, they include the sharks, the rays, and as I like to differentiate, guitar fishes. Sharks and rays are critical to the ocean ecosystems. As predators, they help maintain the balance of marine life, keeping populations healthy and ecosystems resilient. Unfortunately, they are also one of the most threatened groups of animals on the planet. Overfishing, habitat destruction, and bycatch have led to alarming declines globally. Some species have declined more than 90% over the last few decades, and without them, many ecosystems will collapse. Sharks also come in many different sizes and shapes, and in Angola, we have recorded species from all the 8 different orders, ranging from small bottom-dwelling rays to large pelagic sharks. We have a lot of hammerheads, thrashers. So just to show a bit of the diversity that we have.
Would you describe that
Uh,
the coast of Angola, is it warm water or cold water?
we have a mix of both.
Okay.
So we have 2
That's
currents. I have a slide later that will explain a little bit better, but
okay,
I
okay.
can say already that it is a very interesting ecosystem because we have a very cold current, which is the Benguela current that passes from South Africa, Namibia, and rises till the south of Angola, which comes with a lot of nutrients, which promote biodiversity. And then we have coming from the top, the Angolan current, which is coming more or less from the Gulf of Guinea. So we have like a front that alters during winter or summer. So it's quite interesting to see the differences along the coast.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
interesting because you have cold water species with warm water species. So
Yeah.
that's cool. That's unique and speaks to
Mm-hmm.
why you're studying there.
So again, we have different sharks and rays are within different habitats. I am focusing my study on small-scale fisheries, not because they are the most threatening, but because they are the ones that I have access to. So I work with fishermen, with fish landings, which I will explain a bit later. So this is just to highlight that my work is not with small-scale fisheries due to their huge impact comparing to industrial fisheries, but only because of the openness of the people to let me collect the data. So I'm dealing more with coastal sharks, though they are very adventurous. So this is a conversation we can have later, and we have a lot of pelagic to open sea species, meaning that they are risking their own lives going those distances to get their fish. Obviously, they are very, very, very important. They have a crucial role in the marine food web. They regulate prey populations, maintain ecosystem balance. The loss of top predators like the sharks can lead to cascading effects. So meaning that it is an economic issue, particularly in countries in West Africa, which are highly dependent on these food sources as protein. And why Angola? So we have a unique marine biodiversity hotspot. I will show you, I don't know if you can see the mouse here.
Mm-hmm.
So Angola, West Africa here. So you have South Africa, Namibia, Angola. Here we have the cold current. And then here we have the influence of the warm current. And we have huge biodiversity here. It's crazy. You have everything, even from cetaceans to turtles, everything goes there. Very interesting place. It has a huge coast, so 1,600 kilometers, and it's highly understudied. There is no shark and ray data since 1975, which was when the independence occurred from Angola. There is small scale and industrial pressure, fishing pressure in Angola. And there's lack of species and fisheries data in general. So we don't even have a baseline to compare. So this is why the Angola Elasmo project has the idea of it has come because of this is really a data poor region, and through my efforts, so saying that I was not living, and although I am Angolan, I was not living in Angola, and since 2016 I've been going there and I've been going to markets, talking to fishers, and putting together like a little pilot study and a report, which was actually supported by Save Our Seas in 2019, which made me have the strength to pursue a PhD and to risk everything for this, because I heard a lot of no's. And there is really no one else studying the species there. And it's alarming what I've been seeing through these market visits, going fishing with them. But everything will be shown a bit later. Don't want to take so long. And yeah, the Angola Elasmo project idea has begun in 2016, but only in 2021 I was able to really start my PhD, having the social part of the project, which we do the awareness campaigns and try to really inform policy, but also the research part, which for both of the sides, we are counting with volunteers. This was just a quick story. So you have to be very flexible when you are in the field. This was just a day that I was doing some data collection, biological data collection, which I will explain later. And the fishers were like, "You want to come fishing with us?" And I was like, "Well, now?" They said, "Yeah, I don't know how many hours, what's going on. I just jump on a boat and I go with them. No lifeguards, nothing. You just go." It is, you need to really adapt. Things work differently. You can't rely on, I would say the concept of time is different. the concept of I will say hierarchy is different, how things work there. So it's very important to respect the communities and to understand what they are doing, because a lot of them, they don't actually know that this is wrong. So they're not, for me, I don't consider them the enemy. They're actually our most useful tool in order to make this species thrive again.
Mhm.
I will show a little video that will answer all. How can I do this?
And just so you're talking about an area with little to no research
Mhm.
with your people that depend on sharks and rays for food, right? So
Mhm.
it's important that we establish like baseline information about what species are there and how abundant are they, right? So that way we can help the local communities advocate for healthy ecosystems. I do want to say just a blanket statement just for everyone here. Lucia's work involves going out with fishers, as she's explained, and catching fish. So you're going to see lots of caught fish, everyone, okay? And some of the fish are being processed to be eaten later on, right? So just so you know, there will be images of fish that are on shore being caught and being processed. So just want to say that to everyone. Is that I hit play?
Yeah, it's a bit slow. I'm sorry, everyone.
No worries. It was working so well earlier when we
I
practiced.
know. Oh, come on, don't do this to me.
Uh,
Oh,
I have it here. If you want me to share my screen, I can do it that way.
if you can do it, wait, I will stop it. Yeah, I think it's my computer. You try it. Sorry for that, everyone.
No worries.
Atualmente, os dados em Angola referentes a tubarões e raias, também conhecidos como elasmobranquios, da subclasse Elasmobranchi, são limitados devido à ausência de monitorização do setor das pescas durante mais de 30 anos, como consequência da Guerra Civil pós-colonial entre
Is that working? Everyone
1966
can
e
see.
2002.
So,
Esta mesma levou ao aumento do esforço significativo de pesca devido às deslocações em grande escala das zonas rurais para as zonas urbanas e costeiras, uma vez que estas ofereciam maior segurança e oportunidades de trabalho, sendo que parte desta população dedicou-se à pesca. Devido à instabilidade socioeconómica da época, os anos de conflito fomentaram também o estabelecimento, em águas angolanas, de frotas de pesca estrangeiras com práticas insustentáveis, tais como os arrastões. Atualmente, os pescadores angolanos capturam uma grande variedade de espécies, desde pequenos cardumes pelágicos e demersais, mas também tubarões e raias. Devido à dificuldade em monitorizar as dispersas localizações de pesca e à não obrigatoriedade de reportar os níveis de captura de pesca acessória, existe uma grande lacuna no conhecimento das quantidades de elasmobranquios capturadas, na composição de espécies e o impacto da pesca nestas mesmas populações. Como resposta à escassa informação em Angola acerca da composição, abundância e distribuição de espécies de elasmobranquios e o respectivo impacto da pesca na sua abundância e diversidade, o Angola Elasmo Project foi criado. O meu nome é Lúcia Furtado Soares e sou a fundadora do Angola Elasmo Project, um projeto que foi iniciado em 2016 e que teve como inspiração o Elasmo Project, um projeto criado nos Emirados Árabes Unidos que visa a investigação e educação sobre tubarões e raias no Golfo Árabe. Este projeto acabou por se fundir com o meu percurso académico na forma de um doutoramento, visa aumentar o conhecimento sobre tubarões e raias em Angola, fornecendo informação base e dados científicos de longo prazo para preencher a lacuna de informação específica sobre as espécies, a fim de compreender a biodiversidade dos tubarões e raias. Estes dados serão essenciais para uma monitorização adequada das populações ameaçadas e para o desenvolvimento de planos eficazes de gestão e conservação para a costa angolana. Juntamente com o apoio de voluntários e fundações, conseguimos desde 2021 estabelecer uma relação de confiança junto das comunidades pescatórias que nos proporciona o acesso a localizações nunca antes descritas em termos de pesca de tubarões e raias. De facto, a costa angolana é atualmente não documentada no contexto da sua biodiversidade marinha, mas sendo que está situada entre as águas tropicais do Golfo da Guiné e o limite do grande ecossistema marinho da corrente de Benguela, uma forte zona de afloramento e considerada uma zona de grande biodiversidade marinha, suportando um extenso setor de pesca comercial, industrial e de pequena escala, podemos inferir que, apesar de produtiva, corre sérios riscos devido às práticas de pesca insustentáveis e à falta de monitorização das mesmas. As áreas geográficas de investigação em que o projeto se enquadra são a zona de pesca do norte, desde a foz do rio Congo até a área de Luanda, onde o projeto iniciou o seu estudo piloto e, contando também com a zona sul de pesca, do Lubita à foz do rio Cunene, considerada a mais produtiva, com grande abundância de tubarões e raias, e onde o projeto está de momento focado com o apoio da Universidade do Namibe. A pesca artesanal e semi-industrial é reconhecida como uma fonte de mortalidade para a megafauna marinha, incluindo tubarões e raias, que são capturados em grande número nas águas costeiras, quer como captura-alvo ou acessório. Este projeto de doutoramento tem como missão avaliar os impactos da pesca artesanal e semi-industrial em Elasmo Brancos e Angola qualifica-se assim como uma zona importante da África Ocidental para avaliar o impacto da pesca artesanal e semi-industrial na abundância e diversidade de Elasmo Brancos devido à sua elevada produtividade em termos de recursos marinhos, ao esforço de pesca significativo e à escassez de informação sobre a composição, abundância e distribuição das espécies. Este projeto de investigação e conservação é pioneiro em Angola e centrar-se-á em 5 pontos principais. O primeiro ponto será identificar e descrever a extensão geográfica, a dimensão e os objetivos da pesca artesanal e semi-industrial, conduzindo entrevistas semi-estruturadas com pescadores. O questionário deve abranger tubarões, raias e peixe-viola. O objetivo do mesmo será recolher informações históricas e percepções atuais sobre o estado da pesca de Elasmo Brancos, compreender a natureza das interações entre os pescadores e os Elasmo Brancos, recolher informações de base sobre a pesca, incluindo a caracterização dos locais de pesca, áreas de pesca, alvos e preferências, sazonalidade, diversidade e utilização de espécies. Compreender também as percepções sobre a flutuação das capturas e tamanhos dos Elasmo Brancos ao longo do tempo é um dos nossos objetivos. Compreender as percepções dos pescadores sobre a conservação dos Elasmo Brancos e o seu interesse em contribuir para futuras decisões de gestão de pesca também são igualmente importantes. O segundo ponto será recolher dados biológicos das espécies de tubarões e raias pescados para avaliar a abundância e a diversidade das espécies e o seu estado de conservação, incluindo a identificação morfológica, recolhendo amostras de DNA e fazendo tamanho e rácios entre sexos. O ponto número 3 do doutoramento será identificar e caracterizar a rota comercial nacional e internacional de Elasmo Brancos, compreendendo a cadeia de distribuição dos produtos, o seu valor e destino. Isto será feito através de observações de mercado, entrevistas a comerciantes nos locais de desembarque, participação em leilões de mercado e confirmação das identificações no terreno através de amostras de DNA. O ponto número 4 será desenvolver campanhas de sensibilização para as ameaças aos tubarões e raias, a nível local e regional, através do reforço das capacidades ambientais e envolvimento do público, desenvolvendo conteúdos educativos e de sensibilização que serão utilizados à escala local e regional, incluindo escolas, universidades e comunidades pescatórias. Queremos também contribuir com dados científicos para o aumento de dados relativos a estas espécies que possam, no futuro, levar a uma possível criação de regulamentos para a proteção destas mesmas espécies. Para obtermos um impacto significativo na conservação dos tubarões e raias, é extremamente importante a sensibilização relativamente à situação ambiental marinha de Angola, uma vez que não existem dados suficientes, nenhuma iniciativa de conservação para estas espécies, nenhuma área de proteção marinha implementada, quaisquer políticas relativas à conservação e pesca destas espécies, e não existem indicadores que esta dramática situação será abordada em breve. O envolvimento da comunidade local e a sensibilização para as ameaças aos elasmobrânquios, conduzindo ações de sensibilização com o envolvimento das comunidades, é assim um fator-chave para alcançar resultados positivos para a conservação destas espécies. Devido à falta de conhecimento em termos da importância e conservação de elasmobrânquios junto da população local, existe uma necessidade urgente não só de uma sensibilização internacional, mas também de uma comunicação direta e imediata com uma ponte educativa entre o projeto e o público angolano. Tal será conseguido fomentando o envolvimento da comunidade académica local e aumentando a capacitação e envolvimento do público através de workshops, à escala local e regional, incluindo escolas e comunidades piscatórias. É plausível que a pesca de tubarões e raias em Angola seja insustentável, o que representa uma situação semelhante a outros países da África Ocidental, visto que as espécies de elasmobrânquios utilizam igualmente habitats de águas pouco profundas, muito afetadas por este tipo de pescarias, sendo que algumas das espécies de tubarões e raias observadas durante a recolha de dados do Angola Elasmo Project estão classificadas como ameaçadas e criticamente ameaçadas, segundo a lista vermelha da União Internacional para a Conservação da Natureza. Os pescadores artesanais são muitas vezes vistos como um inimigo, mas a história parece diferente nesta área. As comunidades estão a tentar obter o seu sustento durante um período de seca e de fome extrema no país, com o aumento exponencial da pobreza e a migração da população para as zonas costeiras, explorando espécies ameaçadas sobre as quais não têm qualquer informação. Por isso, as campanhas de sensibilização são cruciais para a proteção destas espécies. Independentemente de quantas políticas possam ser desenvolvidas com os dados recolhidos, se não houver compreensão por parte das comunidades de que podem beneficiar da presença destas espécies nas suas águas, não haverá cumprimento quando os planos de gestão forem implementados. Assim, o Angola Elasmo Project pretende estabelecer um compromisso a longo prazo e criar uma infraestrutura sustentável e duradoura que beneficie a proteção dos tubarões e raias na região, envolvendo simultaneamente as comunidades locais.
Thank you.
That's such a good summary of what you're doing. Thanks for sharing that.
Hopefully soon we will have a new video with more recent photos. I mean, every time I'm going for a season in Angola, it's just insane what I've been seeing there. Yeah, quite wow in terms of species, in terms of the developing of the fisheries, the impact that these practices are having in the community. So in a very short time, things are changing, and not in a good way,
Right.
which is scary. Yeah.
I know you have some more things to show us. So
I do.
while you pull that up, there was a question that came in the chat. Just to kind of maybe you can weave it into as you're presenting. But the question was about how is studying in Angola compared to other like more developed countries? Or what particular challenges and differences are there? Lack of resources, like legal barriers or lack of legal structures, maybe. If so, how do you overcome them and how do you adapt and utilize what you have, the available resources that you have to get the research done?
I feel that this is why the project took so long to fully launch itself, because there was, in terms of logistics, no support. When I started the project, I had a small grant from the Save Our Seas in 2019, and then we had COVID, and I risked everything to start the PhD, which I didn't have a scholarship because it was something really new. I brought the project to the university, and I felt like people were didn't want to believe that this was actually possible and feasible to do, because first it was not a location that was studied, which is exactly why I wanted to go there. And second, yeah, I had to really, first of all, I will actually go to reply to that question. So one of the first things that we did was to characterize this fishing community. So I didn't even know where to go. So which beaches, which markets. So there was no information. So a lot of the time was used in these exploration trips, which were sometimes frustrated because we couldn't find any sharks and rays, which was good. But in the sense of I had to do my own mapping of the coast, which was quite exciting and quite adventurous. So I had a really small budget, and yeah, the project depended a little bit on the goodwill of a lot of people. In terms of accommodation and the car that I was, driving, etc. It was a bit of a big adventure in the beginning. Things are obviously more structured now, but I really had to take the leap to do this, and it was really scary. But once I saw the potential of everything, I just didn't stop. But it is really, really, I will say it's a silly example, but I was speaking with um, another researcher, and he had a full structure project in the beginning of his PhD, and he was going with all this team. So I was going alone, and I created my team there. So this all the volunteers that are on the field, which in Angola they are locals, which for me it's essential. And I was going alone, and I didn't thought about the old protocol. So I thought about everything, but I didn't thought about my um, emergency kit. So it was telling me about something about the emergency kit, blah blah blah, and I was thinking, oh, wow, I'm driving like 3 hours with no reception or anything, and oh yeah, I don't have an emergency kit for like 1 year. I was like,
Things you have to think
okay,
about and
yeah,
adapt to, right? That's
exactly, order emergency kit. I was just, I didn't even talk about myself, like it's silly, but it was
right.
really, yeah, in terms of the whole concept of the design of the research, everything was there, but like the rest, it was really, I didn't know what I was going to find there. I didn't know what I was going to stay
Sure.
exactly. Things were really in the air, but
It, it's
it's
it's um it's really amazing that I'll stop talking so you can keep going in a second. But
no,
I think it's just really amazing that, especially here in the United States, we think science has answered all the questions. That's a really common thing. Like, we know everything, but we don't. Like, there's so much that's still left to be answered, and like huge countries and over a huge amount of coastline, like sharks and rays
Mhm.
are just not even studied until you arrive, right? So I mean, it's there's still a lot to be answered out there, everyone. Go. If you have a question, go get the answer to it.
Please, there's so much work to do there. Like I need
Right?
help. Come.
Yes.
um, so. And I think it will go with the flow of the question actually. So as said in the video, so we are doing the fishing characterization, which is very important. So basically, it's the baseline. We need to know everything from scratch. There's no information.
Mm.
So type of fishing, fishing effort, what are the locations? So we were driving around like mad people, going from community to community, and this takes time and takes a lot of your social side as well. And you can be a great, I would say, researcher technically, but if you can't talk to people and you can't resonate with them, your message, you can't get the data. So there's no study. So this is really something that you need to take your time to get to know people, to ask questions, to show your interest and respect for these communities to be able to do what at least I'm doing. At least in Angola, it works like that. Um, so what I'm doing also is taking the biological data, which is very important to create this baseline data to know the diversity. We want to know also the quantities. It's also important to know if this is a young population or they are adults, because obviously sharks, they grow very slowly, and they are also not having a lot of offspring. And if we are obviously fishing the small ones, they will not renovate the population. We're also collecting DNA samples, which is a little bit of the tissue of the shark. So saying that I do not work with live sharks, so everything is unfortunately dead. We're not arming any sharks or rays. And also one of the most important things is to answer the question, why are they doing this? So the commercial route of this species, who's buying, who's incentivizing them to fish this, and the questions will be answered very soon in a paper. I will not be able to say these results yet, but some of them, as I will show in the next slide. Sorry, just to say that we're also obviously, I think it will not work to have a program that you have to have, like, it's like a triangle for me. You have to have the government involved, you have to have academia, and you have to have the communities. Without one of them, it doesn't work to actually make a positive change and meaningful change. So we are creating all the scientific data to inform policy and hope for effective conservation measures. There's no MPAs in Angola. There are no any type of legislation or conservation frameworks. And yeah,
When you say an MPA, that's just a clarification, a
sorry,
marine protected area, right? Yeah. So no like national parks, no like
nothing.
yeah, right. Okay.
This is just to visually show a little bit of I was describing before how we are collecting the data for the characterization and the trade routes by doing structured interviews with fishers and traders. And the cap, like backwards, is Miro, one of our volunteers, interviewing Mr. Afonso, that owns a shark and ray fishery. And yeah, it's very interesting, and the openness of people, the access that we gained. In this paper, which you can find online, using the results of this interviews, we could prove that there was a decline in 80% of the total shark and ray catches in the last 30 years. So meaning that we didn't have any data. There was no comparison point, but now we have a little bit of a comparison. And we have also a decrease in the size of the sharks and rays, meaning that we are fishing them smaller and smaller, not allowing them to renew the population. So it's alarming. We could also infer about the trade routes here. For example, they are landed, they could be fresh products, dry products, the meat. Are they for consumption? Are they for wholesale? Local fisheries, here fresh. Are they consuming the fins or not? Here we can see export to China. Yeah, it's I will not go through it because we don't have a lot of time, but it's quite interesting if people want to see it. As I was saying, we are fishing more and more juvenile sharks, meaning small sharks. This is a species of angel sharks that was possibly extinct in the region, which we discovered that is not possibly extinct, and actually there is one of the largest populations worldwide that we have here. More studies are and research is needed, but it's incredible to see that it's not because they were not there, it's just because no one went to see that there's no. I feel that sometimes the research efforts are not targeting the right areas, or it's some areas are very saturated, and once I show up there, every time I find something new. If it's something that was possibly extinct, I'm an IUCN assessor, I could do a range extension, meaning that they were not described for Angola, and I saw this species there. So on the guides, I would increase on the map this species. So it's quite fantastic, the discoveries that we are finding there. I will show you some of the species, just to show the IUCN red list of threatened species to extinction, which is the tool that we can use to access if the species are threatened or not. These are some some data that I have from 2021 to 2022. You can see in red the critical endangered, which is here, the worst here in the threatened section. So most of the species that the fishers are landing are actually critically endangered species, which is alarming. So just a few photos, so you can see we have a lot of hammerheads there, a lot of carcarinos as well. Not sure if there are enthusiasts of sharks there in watching this. We have a lot of mustelos. We have also deep water sharks coming on the nets. So meaning that they are going fishing everywhere, either in nursery areas, which are the areas that the sharks and the rays will have their offspring, and yeah, it's critical to establish some sort of protection there soon, very soon. A lot of makos as well. So we measure them, of course, to know the size. We can also see if there's a female or a male here. You can see the clasper, so meaning that is a male. When the clasper is bigger than this fin here, it means that is not longer a juvenile. So you can have a huge shark, but if the clasper is smaller than this fin, means that is still a baby. These beautiful guitar fishes, which are rays that pretend they are sharks morphologically. These beautiful rays as well. So if you can see, there's a lot of data deficiency. I'm sorry, it's missing something here. And endangered also species that are critically endangered.
Mm.
Yeah, okay, again, or not evaluated. So meaning that we need to collect a lot of data from the species to actually put it on the guide of the IUCN guide. And so far we don't have any new species, but as far as I can see, there is along this huge coastline, there's a lot to find still. One of the huge problems as well is finning. They are removing the fins, obviously, and releasing the whole body, but mostly they are taking the fins shore and they are selling the fins or the whole body, or even consuming the body because it's a huge source of protein. As I was saying before, just to show the timeline, this is when I was dreaming about the Angola Elasmo 2016. And here we are in 2025. I was just 2 weeks ago speaking at the UN Ocean Conference, which was for me a wow moment. It was incredible to share all this work that not only me, but the locals are developing. And yeah, this is a community-based and conservation awareness project. It will not be, I will not be able to do what I'm doing if I didn't have the trust of the fishers, the trust of the locals, the community itself. And we are really developing work with the volunteers in terms of they are able to do everything that I do. We had workshops to train them to collect the data, to present in schools and for other stakeholders. My goal with this project is to be long lasting, not only a PhD program, but I will be finishing soon my PhD, but to continue this as a program for Angola, for the locals, and for the species. Yeah, a few more photos. You can see here the amount of this huge butterfly rays, and yeah, it is. We need to see that a lot of these communities, they are really dependent on this fisheries more and more. Before they were not so dependent because, as they said, they had more small pelagic fishes, and now because of obviously there's a demand from other sources to an incentive to fish this type of species, and also they don't have anything to eat because there's no other production in Angola. So basically, the source of protein is fish. Everything else is imported. It's really a concern. Yeah, but we had also the support from the university there, which allow us to have some workshops in the rooms, and yeah, we're really developing something nice. And as you can see, at least from the videos, I don't feel there is any backlash from the locals with the project, which is very important. And this raises the question of what to do next, which is
Mhm.
we need to create alternatives for these communities. I can't just go there and say, look, you're doing this wrong and you cannot fish this species, but what is the alternative? And this is something that we are hopefully in the future able to address with them, because to 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 deny something to these communities, we need to really create a plan B for them. They really rely on this, and it's a really poor it's a really poor communities, and even saying that the volunteers, they don't come from very um, I will say wealthy backgrounds. So being a volunteer in Angola, it's because you're really enjoying what you're doing, and they really inspire me to continue even when things get a bit rough in terms of either logistics or funding in the beginning, but they really push me to continue the project. It made them feel that they had a purpose as well. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, these are some of the volunteers, and we're going to schools and to all the universities, and yeah, without them, this will not be possible. So I would like to thank them as well. We are with Save Our Seas, always there.
Yeah.
And also, obviously, one of the objectives of the project is really to have an impact, a real impact. And I always push to invite members of the government and the fishing communities to be present at my awareness talks, and to really push this responsibles of communities in terms of monitoring and decision making to make a change with the data and
Right.
the goodwill that we have. Yeah, and I think we are in the good direction. These are some of the people that have helped the project, contributed for the project.
Great.
Yeah, and thank you. That's really
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, there. I think there's this needed trend in science to involve the community that you're studying, right? I think for a long time that was left out. And I think it's so important, of course, to bring them along and help them be more sustainable, right? So I
Mhm.
commend you for that. Congratulations on a great project. And I'm sure you're going to gather lots of good data that can help the local communities be more sustainable in their fisheries. We have a few questions. We have a little bit of time. We have about a few minutes for questions.
Mhm.
A few of them are coming in from our live audience. If you guys have any questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. We'll try to get to them. Um, one of them was asking about how you collect your data, and specifically about the genetic data that you're collecting. So we saw you with a little tray of like test tubes. I assume you're taking genetic data or samples so you could analyze the samples later for their genetic data. And they were
Yes.
wondering, do you observe like the diversity of the gene pool, right? Do you see a lot of diversity in the genetic data, or is it the fisheries are so overfished that the diversity of the genes are limited?
Um, Unfortunately, Lance, I can't answer this to you because they are under analysis right now. So after all the collection, yeah, so
We'll
it's
have to
the
have you
fourth
back to
year.
answer.
Yeah, and this is my next paper. This is my next paper. So let's see what is going on there in terms in morphological terms. I see variety of species, but
Yeah.
we need to go a bit further and deeper. This is why the DNA samples are being collected. What I do is every day that I go to a site, so if I go to different sites, if I see, imagine scallop hammerheads, I will take 3 to 5 samples every time, every day.
Mm.
Just 3 to 5, doesn't matter. In the beginning, I didn't have even a purpose exactly because it's really expensive to do this type of analysis, and I didn't
Mm.
have a grant or anything. But I know it's like DNA data bank for me. So if you conserve them, they will be there and they will be useful. I had people asking me samples to collaborate, so to see the population connectivity. Have you seen this blue shark there? Have you seen
Mm.
Mobula trustoni there, etc.? So this is important to collect this. It doesn't take a lot of time to do it. If you can do it as a researcher, always take a tissue sample. Always
Right.
do it. You never know when this will be useful for you. And it is a tool that we are using nowadays. It's because I know taxonomy, but who is who tells me that something that I'm actually looking at morphologically is not something different? You know,
Right.
there are studies that doing the DNA analysis, they found out there was a totally different species. So let's
Mm.
see.
Mm. Let's see. Right.
Hopefully, we'll have a nice news soon.
Yeah. We have a few more questions. Let's see. I think this question can kind of lead to another one, but they were asking about is there aquaculture options for sharks and rays, similar to like salmon and this kind of thing. And this kind of speaks to what you said about your project, and like maybe in expanding it is coming up with solutions, right,
Mhm.
for the communities. So maybe just answer that question first, but then kind of talk about expansion of your project and what do you see the next steps are. Where do you see the next funding needs are for all those people that are looking to give you money?
Well, we need to create a proper marine research center there with
Mm.
more logistic conditions. There are a lot of people that are also interested in the work that we are doing in terms of species. So we are doing the baseline, but to tag a shark, we need a boat. We need to have a bit more
Mm.
conditions to do this kind of work. People are interested, so I see that that interest, and hopefully soon we can answer to that through funding, of course.
Yeah.
So this will be something that I would like to do. Obviously, push way and way more with awareness campaigns. So
Mm.
increase them. We want to replicate. So I'm working in the south of the country, and the country is divided more into 3 fishing zones. So the north, the central, and the southern. Southern is the richest, which we are already working. We saw that it works. Now we need to replicate. Next
Mm.
step, central zone. I will go there again and start from scratch. Know the people who's working where are the fishers. So it takes a lot of time because you have to gain access. But I already have the base set. I have my team there,
Sure.
and they're really good in what they are doing. So it's time to now go in another adventure and create another base. So it
Yeah.
will be replicated at least to have a bit of data from the different species because it's 1,600 kilometers the coast. It's really hard to be everywhere. Even there, I have to drive like from 2 sites every day, like 2 hours from one to the other, and then another hour to go
Right.
where I'm staying. So
Sure.
it's a bit insane in terms of
Yeah.
distance. Yeah,
Centralized location would be nice, right? Um, so
yeah.
so um, last question before we let you go, but one of our guests is asking just a personal question for you, just about you and your career. I'm going to tag a question onto there, just in any advice you might have for anyone that wants to follow in your footsteps. But the our guest is asking about. It seems like you move around a lot. Have you ever considered settling down in an area, and how would that work in your career? Couple that with some career advice, maybe for our audience.
Um, I would say to really first of all, what exactly is succeed in this field? I think for me, like what I can measure as success is to really see an impact with my work. Not only because I'm collecting data and publishing papers, it's really to see like when I'm there that this has an impact to people, that I'm really changing something there, even if it's just 2 or 3 people. That was a change, and it's like a domino effect. So it goes and passes. People understand the importance of it. Um, for me, I will say resilience. I had to. It was a lot of no's. A lot of no's. I wanted to give up. Fun fact: I was in the field. I was not in the field for a long time, so I was volunteering, but I was doing something else because I had to, pay my bills.
Yeah.
But I never gave up on the dream to fully really do it. Although there was no funding, although people were not believing in my mission here, and things really changed. I think also it takes a lot of time. I honestly believe I will not be able to do this straight away when I finish my master's when I was, 24. I
Mm.
will not be able to do this. I will not have the guts to jump
Right.
and just go and go around and all these beaches and communities and talk to people. I think it comes a bit. You need to be, to take your time to gain experience um, to ask people things. Every all the connections are very important, and I'm not talking only locally, talking with other researchers, with people in
Mm.
universities. I managed to get my PhD because I bombarded the whole department of the university. Like, this is my project.
Your
Does
resilience.
anyone
Yeah.
wants to take it? And they called me and they said, like, is this, were you actually there? And I'm saying, yeah. Are these photos yours? Yeah. So okay, but we don't have funding. I said, I don't care. Let's do it. I don't
Right.
care. I will find it, and I did.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's, I mean,
but
that's great advice, being resilient, doing
yeah.
for, especially if you're doing something you really care about, right? Um,
Hmm.
Following that. So, well, I certainly appreciated learning more about your project, and inspired by your hard work and all the amazing things that you're doing. Thank you for doing it. And
Thank you.
we wish you luck in continuing and growing and expanding and doing more amazing things. We'll have to have you back sometime maybe next season to get an update.
Will be lovely.
Yeah. Um, well, I want to say thank you to everyone that has joined tonight. We really appreciate you guys being here. You can join us next time. We are going to be interviewing another researcher, all about shark nurseries of Mexico. It happens to be on World Sharks Day on July 14th. Join us same time. If you're interested, you can scan the QR code there, or go to the MODS website, mods.org/STEM Learning Series. We're going to be speaking with Dr. Ramon Bonafil, as a researcher for the Mexican Department for Systematics and Aquatic Ecology. So join us then. We'd love to see you there. Again, thank you to the Save Our Seas Foundation for sponsoring the series and being a partner. We couldn't do it without you, so we really, really do love your support. Thank you again, Lucia. We really appreciate you again. And good luck, and we'll see you maybe next time.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, everyone, have a
Bye
good one.
bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.